This is the News Channel 5 Weekend Report.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Lydia Lenker. Thanks for joining us. Well, it's a nightmare for many parents. Kids with guns at school. Both the juvenile judge and the school system director have joined together to draw up penalties for kids who carry guns. But some school principals believe reality doesn't match the tough rhetoric. News Channel 5's Mark Drury has the story.
Should the Metro High School student who brought this gun to school be sent away to a youth detention center, or will house arrest and fining his parents do the same thing? That's at the heart of a debate currently going on in Metro schools. Last week, a juvenile judge reduced charges against a Glen Cliff High School student who had a gun in his locker. Principals say the courts are talking tough, but not backing it up.
Don't make an idle threat. Don't talk about what's going to happen. Go ahead and do it. And once the message gets out there, then all of a sudden we don't have these problems. One of the reasons that we have problems that we have is that kids think, whether it's correct or not, kids have said to any number of us that it's a joke to go to juvenile court.
Juvenile officials counter by saying any kid caught with a weapon in Nashville is going to serve some detention time. But Judge Andy Shukoff says the first-time offender who brings a gun to school because he's afraid of being beaten up should not be treated the same as a teenage crack dealer.
I don't want any confusion out there. I don't want a kid coming in and saying, well, God, I read something in the paper, or I heard something from somebody else, or they said, well, if it's a misdemeanor, then it doesn't matter. In juvenile court, if you've got a gun, it doesn't matter whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony. If you've got a gun on school property, it's illegal, and we take that seriously.
Shukoff says juvenile court and the school system are trying a new approach to crime in the schools, one they'll closely monitor in the coming months to see if it succeeds. But principals say getting teens who carry guns out of the schools entirely is the only way to ensure every other student isn't forced to learn in an atmosphere of fear. Mark Drury, News Channel 5.
In the coming weeks, Metro is expected to give parents a list of actions they'll take against students if they're caught with weapons, drugs, or found fighting. Many polls show most Americans think crime is getting worse in America, but new statistics from the FBI dispute that. For the first 6 months of the year, overall crime was down 5%. Violent crimes dropped 3%. The government also says we've seen a drop in rape and robbery nationwide. Tennessee Supreme Court Justice Martha Craig Daughtry assumes her new duties as a federal judge tomorrow. Daughtry will be sworn in as a judge on the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. She had served on Tennessee's High Court since 1990. Her replacement hasn't been named yet. Well, a Williamson County dog has been given a new lease on life. Last month, the state went to court to execute Dorothy Marable's dog, Baby. The mean-tempered German Shepherd bit 2 people in the last 2 years. Instead of having the dog killed, the judge ruled Marable had to find a new home for him and a new owner. Tonight, the dog has a new owner away from large numbers of people. A pit bull attack cost a young Knoxville girl the tip of her nose this weekend. Officials say she was playing when the dog suddenly bit her face. Doctors performed reconstructive surgery. Authorities say the pit bull will be destroyed. A suspect in a chilling California kidnapping case is being held without bond tonight. Richard Allen Davis is accused of killing 12-year-old Polly Claus. She was abducted at knife point in October. The tragic ending to searchers' relentless hunt left many grieving for the little girl's family.
No, it just ripped my heart out. I just really feel for her parents.
Authorities say they'll seek formal charges in the case later this week. Tonight, police are searching for more clues around the murder scene. A former priest is scheduled to be sentenced on sex charges tomorrow in Massachusetts. James Porter pleaded guilty to 41 charges of sexually assaulting children. Porter's attorneys plan to appeal for treatment rather than prison time. Tragedy off the coast of Maryland today. A charter fishing boat sank in the Chesapeake Bay. It took up to 2 hours, but all 23 passengers were pulled from the icy waters. All were rushed to the hospital, but it was too late to save 2 people. NASA hopes to complete the second crucial step in its orbital repair mission with a second spacewalk tonight. In a matter of just minutes, 2 astronauts will leave the shuttle Endeavour. Tonight they'll replace the troubled Hubble Space Telescope solar panels. For more on this repair, we go to reporter Cheryl Atkinson in Houston. Cheryl?
Another long night of spacewalking ahead. It is tough, sometimes tedious detail work, but the 2 astronauts of spacewalk number 2 are springboarding off of a very successful first spacewalk.
And we got your downlink video, Jeff.
A smiling Jeff Hoffman took a moment mid-space to send birthday greetings to his wife, Barbara. And Shuttle Commander Dick Covey gave a cheerful salute as the Endeavour crew began preparing for the second overnight spacewalk of the Hubble mission. The crew has reason to be cheerful. They accomplished everything they set out to do during the first spacewalk, even fixing a stubborn door by using some good old-fashioned elbow grease.
I think we got the door closed. Yes. And the pump is engaged. All right. Whew.
Good work, guys.
I think we'll run into similar problems that we'll have to think about for a few minutes, maybe try it a little different way, put a little more muscle power into it perhaps, and make it work.
Tonight, astronaut Kathy Thornton will be riding the robot arm, and Tom Akers will be free-floating as they set out to take down the Hubble's faulty solar panels and install new ones. The old panels were designed to roll up like window shades. One did. The other is stuck open and will be left in space. Thornton will transport the new rolled-up solar panels to the Hubble, where Akers will bolt them into place. The solar panels provide the Hubble with its electricity, so replacing them is the #1 priority of this mission. Without them, the Hubble would be dead in space. NASA workers on the ground say we should expect to see problems crop up here and there on these next 4 overnight spacewalks. This is the scene from Mission Control. The key is how well the crew can troubleshoot those problems in space, and so we'll likely see more improvisations as we did in the first spacewalk. Now back to you.
Thanks for that report, Cheryl. Well, there's some good news tonight for us earthbound travelers. Gas prices continue to fall. Pump prices dropped nearly 2 cents a gallon over the last 2 weeks. Nationwide, the average price for a gallon of gasoline is $13.3 rather. I'll get that right. Experts attribute the decline to an international dip in crude oil prices. And still ahead, will the wet and cloudy weekend hang around for the work week? Leland will tell us next. And also, NAFTA promises to bring a future for farmers. It's a prospect that has many excited. And in sports, an old-fashioned knockdown dragout in the NFL tonight.
Fires it. Sharp dropped it. Right in his hands.
Leland joins me. And you know, the viewers out there probably think we always talk about weather, but it's not true. A new fast fact unrelated to weather. Tell us.
I lost weight in November. I can't believe I pigged out on Christmas, on Thanksgiving Day. I had 3 helpings of turkey, and I lost 3 pounds during the month of November.
There is a caution here, though, you guys. He works out a lot.
About 3 times a week, about 2 hours each time.
We don't want to give him the wrong idea.
No, stop the insanity on this diet stuff. Go pig out, lose weight, all right?
The calls are coming. I can hear them now. Anyway, what's it going to look like next week?
For the upcoming week, we're going to get some sunshine in here, I think. Some sunshine for tomorrow. Cooler weather, breezy for tomorrow, but sunshine nonetheless.
Good Christmas shopping weather.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's start with a 5-degree guarantee. Yesterday, I told you the high for today would be 57 degrees, and the cloud cover and the sunshine just would not cooperate with me today. Today's high 48, so because of that, the News Channel 5 weather team will send a $50 check to Two Rivers Middle School in Nashville, Tennessee, courtesy of Billy McMahon, who is a student out there. So once again, a $50 check on its way to Two Rivers Middle School. The low for today is our current temperature of 38 degrees. We have had a small amount of precip over the past 24 hours. Outside right now, a partly cloudy sky, your current temperature 38. Relative humidity is at 92%, a south wind at 8, and the feels like right now is at 30. Let's put the clouds in the replay. This is the 13-hour review. See the cloud cover across the area hanging on like a bad haircut for most of the day, but sooner or later the clouds began to eat their way across the west, across the east over into the Tri-City. So as of right now, they will see a mostly cloudy sky, but partly cloudy skies for you and me. A fast-moving cold front will brush across the area tonight, so that's going to keep you and me on the cool side as far as tomorrow is concerned, probably breezy as well. At 7 o'clock in the morning, 39, 47 at high noon under a partly cloudy sky, and a pair of 4s on your way home tomorrow evening. Here is your Monday weather map. As of right now, this front is getting ready to push into western Tennessee. It's a fast-moving clipper system. What it will do is give us some cooler weather for tomorrow. So tomorrow's high right around 50 for a high, and then with the northwest winds, things will be kicking up probably out of the northwest at around 10 to 15, so the temperature will always feel like somewhere in the upper 30s or 40s for tomorrow. By Tuesday, the front will continue to work its way to the east. High pressure ridge will build in. As of right now, things are looking quite dry, which after a wet, very wet Saturday across the Mid-South will be good news. But right now, things are looking dry for most of the week. Although this is some concern for Wednesday, we will continue to update you on that as we go through the next couple of days. What about highs for tomorrow? We'll be on the fence. Some of you all to the south of Nashville will see highs just barely in the 50s. Meanwhile, up in Kentucky, south central Kentucky, highs tomorrow in the 40s. I think in the metro area, we may kiss 50 for a moment or two. So I will say 50 for Nashville. At 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, 42 in Bowling Green, 43 in Hillsdale. That's our pick town on this Sunday, 43 in Lebanon, and 45 in Franklin, with basically partly cloudy skies out there at the time, 45 in Dixon. For tonight, partly cloudy with the low right around 38. It's 38 now, so 36 I think will be the official overnight low. Mostly sunny and 50 for tomorrow. A breezy day for your Monday. And a quick check here of the next 5 days. 48 on Wednesday, 49 on Thursday, and then warming back up to about 53 on Friday. Have a good week, everyone. Mark has sports right after this.
This weather brought to you by your Castner Knott stores.
Mark's here, and he's going to wax. Can I talk tonight? Nostalgic.
You talked very well.
So much for that lead-in.
Whatever the case, the last time this happened, Bart Starr quarterback Green Bay and Nashville's Bill Wade at the helm for the soon-to-be world champion Chicago Bears. So let's get back in the Wayback Machine, Mr. Whoopi. Now, back to the future in Chicago. The Packers and Bears meeting with winning records for the first time since 1963. Coaching legends Vince Lombardi and George Halas ran the show then. Now it's Youngbloods Mike Holmgren and Dave Wannstedt, the former Dallas assistant. Wannstedt, who, by the way, broke into coaching under Johnny Majors, has turned Chicago around with defense. That unit scoring 3 touchdowns against Green Bay. Off the interception, former UT Vol Jeremy Lincoln gets the lateral from Dante Jones, and this hot rod Lincoln motors 80 yards to stake the Bears to a 7-0 lead. Third quarter, the D strikes again. Brett Favre fumbles and the ball gets kicked, and along comes Jones. He scoops it and carts it 32 yards. The Bears smack the Pack 30-17. Now in Miami, Dolphins quarterback Steve DeBerg didn't get that shaving. The Giants, the first NFC team to win at Joe Robbie Stadium, 1914. Phil Simms 20 yards to Howard Cross. The G-Men to 9-3. Go figure the Raiders. They lose to lowly Cincinnati a week ago, and then at Buffalo shocked the Bills. Former Notre Damer Tim Brown reels in the game winner from Jeff Hostetler, 25-24 L.A. A former Raiders star shining with Kansas City, Marcus Allen, rushing for 2 scores. He navigates 30 yards on this gem. KC routs Seattle 31-16. Atlanta's Jerry Glanville used to coach the Oilers. His ex-players don't have happy memories. Warren Moon sending Glanville a love letter in the form of 342 air yards and the 25-yard bullseye to Webster Slaughter. Did I say Slaughter? 33-16 Oilers. Cleveland a Jim Brown town, but Vinny Testaverde back in the quarterbacking saddle. He comes off the bench to beat New Orleans with this touchdown toss to Michael Jackson. Yeah, the one with the 2 gloves. 17-13, that final. Also, San Diego 13, Denver 10. Pittsburgh edges pesky New England 17-14. The Cardinals in a big way over the Rams 38-10. Indy upsets the Jets at the buzzer 9-6. Minnesota in a snoozer over the Lions 13-0. The Redskins mix in a win 23-17 at Tampa Bay. San Francisco struggles past those Bengals 21-8, and Monday night the Eagles play at Big D. Some strange movement in the college football rankings. Will somebody please explain how Notre Dame moves ahead of Auburn when neither team played a game last week? Scanning the polls, the AP media tabulations at Florida State, Nebraska, West Virginia, then the Irish and Tigers flip-flopping at 4 and 5, Tennessee at 6th and holding, Florida and Wisconsin up to 8th and 9th, the Vols' opponent Penn State 13th. The coaches' CNN poll remains Nebraska, West Virginia, Florida State, Notre Dame, and the Vols. Mix AP and CNN, and you have the coalition poll. Nebraska still topping that with Florida State second. The Huskers and Seminoles, of course, have those two key spots. Now let's go from the polls to bowls, and West Virginia left out of the national championship mix, settling for sugar. Florida State and Nebraska, of course, locked into the Orange Bowl, perhaps for the national championship. So, January 1st at the Orange Bowl, it will happen. Now the Mountaineers in Florida in the Sugar Bowl. Tennessee and Penn State, of course, teeing it up in Orlando for the Citrus. Notre Dame going cotton against Texas A&M. Wisconsin will run for the Roses against UCLA. Also Alabama committing to the Gator Bowl in North Carolina, and Kentucky and Clemson in the Peach. To hoops and a bumpy start for Jim Foster. The Vanderbilt team 2-2 and playing Purdue for the MCI First American Classic title. Donna Harris, the tournament MVP, with 26 points in that three. The Commodores getting 12 from Heidi Gillingham. The dish from Rhonda Blades for the easy two. Vandy with 3 players sidelined with injuries, just going to the bench. Sherry Sam pours in 18, including the buzzer beater. Vanderbilt getting a tough time from the Lady Boilermakers, 96-91, the final tally. Yes, Florida beat Alabama 28-13 in the SEC Championship Saturday to earn that Sugar Bowl berth, but many will contend that the conference's top 2 teams didn't play in Beeham. Auburn and Tennessee own the highest SEC rankings. So in a flight of fancy, we enlisted our computer whiz, Lance Hafner, to determine what might have been.
The Vols dominate a wild first half. Charlie Garner over 100 rushing yards and that score. Heath Schuler 4 touchdown passes on the day. 3 of those to Corey Fleming, 21-7 UT. But Auburn's defense makes a big play. Fred Smith with the interception, return for 6. It's only 28-14 Big Orange at halftime. Third quarter, Stan White of Auburn with 3 touchdown passes, this time flying solo, and he finds the checkerboard as the Tigers climb to within 35-28. Still the Vols with too much offensive firepower. Craig Faulkner catches 7 balls, and Billy Williams on the payoff end of Schuler's aerial, the pick for 6, and Tennessee wins this SEC championship 56-42.
Okay, it could have happened. Lance assures me, though, that's how it came out. Scouts honor. Now, what's the number of that Coalition Bowl? Now, the Knights do not take the weekend off for you fellow working stiffs. Nashville chasing the puck for the 3rd straight evening. Louisville calling on the Knights at the Auditorium, and Greg Burke of the home team scores on the deflection in front. A few minutes later, Burke again. Knights win it, the final 8-3. Back to football. Your ears don't deceive you. It is Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl. The Badgers going all the way to Tokyo to clinch the Big Ten crown. Terrell Fletcher wheeling 40 yards to stake Wisconsin to a 14-10 lead against Michigan State. And then Brett Moss, their outstanding tailback, over 1,000 yards for the season, in for the 3, 41-20 the final. My buddy Bernie Goldstein is an incurable Badgers fan, and I know he is probably the happiest man in Nashville right now because of that outcome.
Good, and could you go through those bowls again? Just kidding.
Yeah.
Still to come. Middle Tennessee farmers say greener pastures are just ahead with NAFTA. We'll tell you why next. For most of us, summer seems a long way off, but for farmers, the growing season is just around the corner. At the Tennessee Farm Bureau's annual convention, farmers are praising passage of the North American Free Trade Agreement. News Channel 5's Mark Bellinger has more.
If there are more smiling faces at this year's Farm Bureau convention, there's a good reason. NAFTA. Farm Bureau officials predict the trade agreement means millions of dollars for Tennessee farmers.
I think we can look to double our movement of our commodities into Mexico in a few years.
Commodities like soybeans, corn, cotton, dairy products, and tobacco. In general, farmers predict revenue increases across the board.
Maybe 5-10 cents on a bushel, maybe 3 or 4 cents on a per head of cattle.
Dollars and cents rely heavily sometimes on unpredictable weather. The drought in the southeast drove corn prices up.
You know, I have a saying that the only time we farmers get to make any money is off another farmer's misery.
The flooding in states like Iowa and Missouri destroyed soybean crops. Short supply plus same demand equals higher prices. The weather is a funny thing. It may be the farmer's biggest issue, but at the same time, it's the issue they can't control. Mark Bellinger, News Channel 5.
Still ahead, a gala gathering in Washington to honor America's top entertainers and their contributions. We'll check entertainment news next. In entertainment news, the Kennedy Center honors were handed out tonight. The 5 honorees were treated to a White House reception. Johnny Carson, gospel singer Marion Williams, conductor George Solti, composer Stephen Sondheim, and dancer Arthur Mitchell were honored for their contributions to America's cultural life. The gala airs later this month here on CBS. Country star Garth Brooks may not be winning fans at the phone company. Anxious fans wanting tickets to see Brooks tied up telephone service for hours in parts of 3 Midwestern states yesterday. Phone service was disrupted in western Kentucky, Indiana, and Illinois. Despite hang-ups with the phone service, all 3 of Garth's Evansville concerts sold out quickly. Movie fans have no hang-ups about Mrs. Doubtfire. The comedy featuring Robin Williams dressed as a female nanny earned more than $15 million this weekend. That's nearly triple the box office take of the second-place movie, A Perfect World, and that stars Clint Eastwood and Kevin Costner. The sound of tubas rang loud and clear in Colorado. More than 100 tubists gathered at an Inglewood Arena Mall for Christmas concert fun. The show is one of the few times when the tuba doesn't play background accompaniment. Good show. Still ahead, Middle Tennessee gets off and running in the spirit of the season. Finally, it's official, Nashville. The holiday season is here, and it arrived today with 2 traditional events. Who better than Rudolph to kick off Christmas in Music City? Well, how about the whole team? Hundreds of festive frolickers gathered for the annual Rudolph's Red-Nosed Run.
Oh, hello, boys and girls.
In the chilly air, getting a red nose was easy, and even Elvis planned to sweat a little.
Stop at McDonald's over there, grab a cheeseburger, and on my way.
The race gives participants a running start on the holiday, so to speak, and bringing up the rear, help for overexerters. After the race, the Christmas parade made its annual trek. The Grand Marshal, flamboyant country star Marty Stewart, sitting on a rocking horse, nearly upstaged Santa. This year's theme, Christmas scenes and children's dreams, was reflected in the floats and the seasonal music from the marching bands. The sun came out for the big finale as Santa and his magical sleigh delighted the young and the young at heart. Fun, fun. Now, Ernest came to Christmas in White House this afternoon. Actor Jim Varney, better known as Ernest from the movies, served as the Grand Marshal for the White House Christmas Parade.
We're having a great time here in White House. What do you think of all these sirens? What if there's a fire, Vern? Know what I mean?
We know what you mean. Varney, who lives in White House, recently starred as Jed Clampett in the new Beverly Hillbillies movie. What fun today.
Yeah.
What about the weather tomorrow?
There's another parade tomorrow in Columbia. Ron House will be down there. He's the Grand Marshal. As a matter of fact, he'll be doing weather live from Columbia tomorrow night at 6.
Great.
So you want to check that out. 7 o'clock in the morning, here's what you can expect. Sunshine out there, 39 in Nashville, 40 Lawrenceburg, 40 in Columbia.
Real fast, the winners of the Red Nose Run, Jimmy Harold, Bowling Green, Margaret Gross, our Olympian runner. Have a great week.